leaflets packed with information and opinions you are unlikely to discover elsewhere. If you fear learning the truth, or you wish to continue being controlled by the mainstream media propaganda, you are encouraged to block your ears. Or avoid this area completely. For everyone else, please enjoy your time in this free speech zone. Thank you. To the 269th Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. The big picture of how the world of human affairs works involves people with greater knowledge controlling those with less knowledge. Greater knowledge is key to controlling others without revealing that they are being unfairly or unjustly controlled. We can call the group of people that control society through its possession and suppression of knowledge the parasite class. Parasite class derives its excessive wealth and power directly from the people it controls. The control of people requires keeping the people ignorant of the big picture. If people are kept ignorant of the big picture, they fail to realise they are being unfairly exploited. We will all be able to resist control if we can gain the knowledge the parasite class makes use of. Widespread awareness of how the world of human affairs truly works would therefore result in widespread resistance. The parasite class employs a multitude of puppets to prevent us seeing the big picture so that we don't develop effective resistance to being controlled. To gain support from the public, individual puppets of the parasite class may promote narrow focus agendas that appear to be in the public interest, but the majority of puppets don't support these same public interest agendas and will most likely oppose them. This way of promoting narrow focus agendas fragments our efforts to develop our understanding of the true big picture. Gaining a true big picture of human affairs is in the public interest. We all need an overview of how the world works. The suppression of truth and the persecution of journalists and whistleblowers is evidence that freeing the truth is in everyone's interest. We all need to learn the big picture of human affairs. The Assange movement continues. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for gathering here today to hear my story. A story of injustice, persecution, and a fight for the truth. I stand here not only for myself, but for every Australian who has been subjected to the misuse of power by every institution meant to serve and protect us. Julian Assange once said, one of the key ways in which states demonstrate the supremacy of their power is by violating their own rules. My case epitomizes this. For 3 years, I have been relentlessly pursued and harassed by the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission. The lengths to which they have gone to destroy my career and credibility have been nothing short of staggering. These institutions, which are supposed to uphold fairness, have shown their willingness to violate their own laws and ethical principles. Why? To cover up the truth about ivermectin. Is it because acknowledging its efficacy would have jeopardized the emergency use authorization for the experimental gene therapy? Or is it because ivermectin represents a threat to the 800 billion cancer drug industry? Or perhaps both? Whatever the reason, the result has been the same: the suppression of truth, the destruction of careers, and the betrayal of public trust. Let me share with you the blatant abuses in my case. The Westmead complaint. The first complaint was filed by Westmead Toxicology Department, a department, not a person, as required by law. This complaint lacked patient consent, a fundamental violation of ethical standards. To this day, I have not seen any evidence that consent was provided. Yet, this baseless complaint was treated as legitimate. The second complaint came from John Smith, an anonymous individual whose email bounced back, whose landline was disconnected, and who provided no physical address. By law, the Healthcare Complaints Commission must reveal the identity of a complainant within 14 days. I was notified of this complaint on October 6, 2021, And 3 years later, I still do not know who John Smith is. How did John Smith obtain an ivermectin prescription that had been in APRA's possession? How was this anonymous complaint allowed to proceed despite its clear vexatious nature? Why did the former head of the Healthcare Complaints Commission's operational complaints, Mr. Tony Cofkin, fail to dismiss it outright? Adding to the mystery, John Smith's prescription appeared in Westmead complaint when files were sent to my lawyer. What does this tell us about the collusion between these entities? The third complaint emerged in November 2021 after the Medical Council unlawfully suspended my license using emergency powers intended for exceptional circumstances. There was no emergency in my case. My suspension lacked any reference to urgency, violating the very laws meant to justify such drastic action. Even more troubling, this third complaint remains shrouded in secrecy. Neither I nor my legal team were ever informed of its particulars. It seems that the Healthcare Complaints Commission and the Medical Council are attempting to exploit Section 34A of the Healthcare Complaints Act to coerce me into surrendering my patients' medical files. This would provide them information to retrospectively formulate allegations for the complaint. Why were these actions taken? Because the law requires multiple complaints to justify cancellation of medical license. And I had an impeccable record with no prior complaints. It seems clear to me that the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commissions work together to concoct additional complaints to meet this legal threshold. These actions are not just unethical, they are unlawful. The Healthcare Complaints Act explicitly requires transparency, consent, and adherence to natural justice. Yet in my case, these principles were disregarded entirely. This isn't corruption, then what is it? I reported my case only to be told that there was no corruption. I wrote to ministers, ombudsman, and even the Attorney General, yet none have stepped forward to address these blatant abuses. This is not just about me. It is about a healthcare system manipulated by regulatory bodies that have overstepped their bounds. This is about suppression of truth and the erosion of trust in our institutions. Ivermectin has been a victim of this suppression. Its potential to save lives was buried under a campaign of lies, or to pave the way for experimental treatments and to protect corporate profits. This is a betrayal of the public, a crime against humanity. We must stand together to demand accountability and transparency. This fight is not just for my career. It is for the integrity of our healthcare system and the rights for every Australian. Let me leave you with the words of John F. Kennedy. Quote, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable." Unquote. Let us be the voice of peaceful revolution. Let us demand a system that serves the people, not corporate interest. And let us ensure that no doctor, no patient, and no citizen ever had to face what I have endured. Thank you.
We are all Assange.